This podcast is a celebration of women who are shaping culture, influencing the world, and boldly stepping into the entertainment industry to create God-honoring content across all media platforms. I'm your host, Shari Rigby. Grab your coffee, settle in, and join me for an inspiring ride. My dear friend, Jennifer Stroman, is with me today, and she is, I can't even tell you all of the incredible things this woman does. One of the things I love about her, though, is she truly loves big. She is a photographer. She is an avid lover of her friends and family. She took up tennis a couple years ago and has become one of the top tennis players in the country club that we live in. And one of the things that I love about her more than anything is she loves to share her gift of cooking and baking with her friends and family, welcoming people into her home and just encouraging us through the gift of food. And I love that more than anybody else. So anyway, welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. This is going to be a great conversation. I love having an opportunity to share about women who are doing great things, influencing culture. And when we were talking about season 4, we were starting to go through all these different women and who they were in our lives, in our world, and how they're influencing through their gifts and talents. And you were just one of the top women we were talking about. And no, we loved, I get teary-eyed because I have this moment where I think about just even the time that we met.
Yes, that sticks out in my heart. That was a moment in time that I will never forget, and I am so grateful for. I am so grateful for that moment.
It was so fun. I remember I had been invited to play pickleball.
Yep.
And it was my first day. And before I go any further in introducing her, I just have to share the story really quick. And before I knew it, I wasn't able to go because I got a flat tire. And so Jennifer texted me quick and said, I'll pop over and pick you up. And from that moment on, we started to have these great conversations about finding out we were both from California. We were both moms. We had so much of a background that were very similar to one another. And then before we went too much further, we also found out that we had a love for birds too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I noticed right away your little bird. Oh, yeah. And I thought, oh, she's my kind of gal.
Yeah, it was love at first sight.
That's
so
right.
Literally. I do want to, though, share a little bit about some of the additional things. So basically, you came from California to Georgia with your husband, Graham. It's been about 5 years since you guys moved here. You are a mother of 3 adult children in California and a grandmother.
Yes, I am of 4.
Four
4 grandsons.
4 grandsons.
Yes.
You are a photographer. You're a tennis player. Again, you share your gifts and talents through baking and cooking and inviting people into your home. And you love big. And so tell us a little bit about the journey from California to Georgia. What brought you guys here? And then how is it that you are now utilizing your talents and how grateful you are to be here and being able to experience life every day? What does that look like for you?
Boy, so I met my husband in 2009. He is a Southern gent, was living in California at the time.
Love it.
And we'd traveled back here quite a bit, here being Georgia. His sister lives here. And so we would travel back here to see her for Christmas and his mom. And I fell in love with Georgia itself, just the area I knew. And you only know what you know and what you're exposed to. And I never did much traveling. I was a single mom for quite some time and just in survival mode. So prior to meeting my husband, I didn't do much traveling and would have never thought about anything outside of California because it's all I knew. And we traveled here quite a bit, fell in love with it, and talked after we got married, talked about retiring here. Retiring outside of California, I should say, and the likelihood of here was huge. We decided he had an opportunity through work in 2020, just as COVID was happening, had an opportunity to move here, and my grown kids were grown at the time and doing their own thing. And we jumped on the possibility and did it and moved here. And it was, I tell you, a wonderful, wonderful thing. And for me, probably more so because even though I live further from my kids, I get to see them with such quality time now that I didn't have. I don't work anymore. And so for me, having the ability to travel back as much as possible and really, really enjoying time with them has been a godsend.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
been,
that.
and I've planted roots here. I love it here. This has been such a great community. I mean, meeting friends and planting new roots has been tremendous. I love it.
Well, you're one of those people that I love going anywhere I go here in this area and I see you at a party or a gathering. I'm like, it's just it feels so welcoming. It feels like home. So I'm so
Oh,
happy
you're
you're
so
here.
sweet. Well, same. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you and I are very similar in a lot of
Yeah.
ways where, I lead with my heart. I always have. I do things that bring me joy, and
Mm.
bringing joy for me is bringing joy to others. So
Mhm.
it's so easy to just do for others.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, you shared a quote
Mm.
that the women in my world was asking about, and I loved this. You said that I opened two gifts this morning. They were my eyes, and I love that quote. Talk a little bit about that because I know that comes from a heart of gratitude.
It does. It's trifold for me. It's not just the words you hear. For me, it's more about number one, I am grateful every day that I wake up.
Mm.
I know that life is precious and
Yeah.
life is short. And unfortunately, I have dealt with a lot of people in my life who have died at a very young age, and including my mother. And I am so grateful every day
Yeah.
that I wake up. So therefore, opening my eyes, but it's not just opening my eyes, figuratively speaking. It's
Mhm.
seeing the world and the beauty that surrounds us every day.
Yeah.
And that's where my love of nature, my love of being outdoors really, really is deep, deep rooted for me. It's
Mhm.
important. And I'm grateful
Yeah.
to see and do the things that I get to do every day,
Love
every
that.
day.
I love it because you literally, it's like waking up and going, okay, today is a new day.
Mhm.
I've been given another chance at life and I'm going to take it all in,
Right.
visually speaking, but also mind, body, and
Mhm.
soul. I love that. And you really do live your life to the fullest. And through your photography and all the things that you do, you can see just how much you love beauty. And it's really precious. I don't know, y'all can see this picture behind me, but this is one of Jennifer's photos, and it's a hummingbird, and this was just such a beautiful shot, and it really does speak so much life and just what you do on a regular basis, but
Thank
what
you.
your eyes capture and
Mm.
also your heart that you get to share with people.
Well, I think part of photography in general, for me anyway,
Mhm.
is capturing emotion, capturing the depth of what it is you're looking at. And
Yeah.
it's not just a picture for me. This picture in particular, hummingbirds are just so unique in their own right and beautiful. And this little guy was just sitting there resting because,
Mhm.
their wings are going at such
Mhm.
force. They have to literally eat every 10 minutes to sustain life. And when you think about that, that's pretty intense. But this little guy was resting in a cherry blossom tree. He was drinking, or she was drinking at the same time. And, I just happened to capture that moment. But boy, I had to learn patience. There's a lot of patience in photography, in particular, nature.
Mhm. In nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always say in the industry, the hardest things to do are to work with children and
Mm.
animals.
Yep. I would agree.
And I think that's very true.
Yes.
As I want to definitely dive into having, to get to some more conversation about photography. But I think one of the things that I always ask the women who are part of my world and come onto the podcast is how you define success. Not according to the world, but how you define it in your day in and day out of the things that you do.
Well, for me, success it's not possessions. It's not money. It's how you make other people feel. It's happiness and true joy within your own heart. That to me is success. Always has been and always will be. To me, making others happy. I mean, we all die.
Yeah.
It's people aren't going to remember
Mhm.
what you had. They're going to remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
And that's success. That's success.
Yeah. It's leaving that legacy. It's funny. We just heard a great message on Sunday and it was talking about how, the pastor actually asked how many people could remember their grandparents and then their great
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
grandparents' names and then their parents' names and what they had. And I think everybody was pretty stumped. But what we did remember were these legacy pieces that they left behind, things that we could really account to in our memory that were
Right.
special. And so I think that's a really great way to look at success. I know that the photography part for me has something. I've always loved cameras. And you've definitely had your journey as being a single mom. And definitely raising 3 children on your own. When did you find the moment, or when did you feel like that was a moment that God was like, okay, I've given you this talent, and all of a sudden it's like, here it was. You got to explore what it was like to pick up a camera. Do you remember that moment?
Well, it'd probably make me cry. I spent a lot of my childhood, most all of my childhood and growing up years and formative years in survival mode. And, raising my own children as a single mom was tough, again, in survival mode. Really, truly, God put in front of me a man, my husband now, who not only made me feel safe and comfortable for the first time in my entire life, gave me the ability to think beyond just surviving. And that came in the form of go find your passion. We moved here and I wasn't in survival mode anymore. And it was go find something, pick up a tennis racket and go make friends and get into your photography. And it just has opened so many doors for me that something I never could think about, I was able to explore freely. And that was my wings. I gained my wings when you are in survival mode for a lot of your life, you don't have the opportunity to think beyond the moment now.
It's good.
When you finally feel safe and secure, you're able to look beyond that.
Yeah.
And for me, that was now is my time. This has been my last 5 years of kind of exploring that.
So you told me a story, and going back to California, because you were still living in California at the time, I think.
Okay.
You were exploring photography.
Yes.
And you submitted some photos.
Okay. Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I love that story because it was a moment that you stepped out in faith and you didn't have any idea whether or not that this was going to be, whether you were going to find some success in this or not, but you stepped out in faith. Share a little bit about that story and taking those photos and then sharing them.
So to back up a little bit beyond that, I picked up a camera. It was my cell phone. And I had at the time moved in with my boyfriend, who's my husband now. And I had the opportunity to drive the coast of California. He was from Huntington Beach. Every morning driving to work, I had the opportunity to see the sunrise over the ocean. I would literally pull over and take pictures with my phone. And I mean, the beauty, it just, it's can't even explain it, but I was able to capture it. And I would just post the pictures that I would capture of the sunrise or sunset, and people were asking to buy the photographs. Well, you can't really print large print from a cell phone. They just don't turn out. My husband for Christmas bought me my first camera. And so I had to learn how to use it, and then started taking pictures of the sunrises and sunsets. And then it became, I met some birders who would take pictures of wildlife. So I kind of started trekking the back roads of Huntington Beach to find all the wildlife. And I learned how to recognize certain behaviors to, take pictures. And then it got to the point where I started taking pictures of the food I was making because my love language is food. And so I started taking pictures of the food I was creating. So here was the submission part. I submitted a few photos thinking this magazine was asking, they were looking for photographers. So I thought, submitted some pictures, and the editor got back to me to let me know it was an editor they were looking for, not a photographer. And I was so embarrassed, but she said, but I really like the pictures you sent. Can you take pictures of this for me and submit them? So I thought, oh my gosh, now this was getting real. And I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, but I did it. I took pictures, I submitted them, and actually started working for that particular magazine, doing some pictures of different restaurants, food. It was awesome. And here I was doing it. And had I thought about it, I probably would have freaked myself out a little bit and wouldn't have done it. But it just, doors open up and you just stumble across things and, so it became a thing. And I never thought.
I love it though, because when I look back, I always kind of look back, and I love to stop and think about the things that God has given us and the things that we're passionate about. And so all of a sudden, here you are, you pick up a phone, you start taking photos,
And then you're passionate about food and you're taking pictures of food. And then you're stepping out in faith and you get your camera and you're exploring, because that in itself, just to learn a piece of equipment. And then to take those photos and submit them. And I love that the Lord opened the door a little differently than maybe you submitting a photo, but you did submit the photo, which then opened the door to other things. And that's such a cool story. It was one of my favorites. And I thought, this is so inspirational, because this is the way we are supposed to be obedient to that calling. And when we are passionate about things, it doesn't just something that we don't just stumble upon. When we've been given a passion and a desire, we are therefore then to seek it out. And you did that. You did that.
Right.
So I'm so excited about that. And
Same.
I love that. Well, and also California Captured is one of your Instagram handles.
Right. That's where I put most of my wildlife, all my photography. Yeah, I have a personal one, but that's the one where I kind of upload all my pictures that I've taken.
And I love it. I love it. And we'll talk about the other one in a.
Hey friends, if you're enjoying today's episode, we'd love your support. Hit like, subscribe, comment, and share this video, which helps us grow the channel that directly supports the women in my world and our mission to develop, educate, and launch Christian women in the entertainment and media industry. Every action you take truly makes a difference in our ministry. And now we'd like to share a brief video about the heart and mission behind the women in my world. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey with us. Hi, I'm Shari Rigby, the founder of the Women in My World. Our goal is simple but powerful. We focus on developing, educating, and launching Christian women in entertainment and media. Our aim is to train up emerging talent, empower them to craft impactful, God-honoring content across various platforms, and contribute to positive global change through leadership roles. We invest in women by providing opportunities to learn essential skills in their desired field. Through hands-on education and on-the-job training, we build a community of like-minded women who shepherd others to grow and flourish in their careers. The Women in My World has helped support and launch women into key positions, such as producers, script supervisors, production and costume designers, directors, makeup and hair artists, and so many more. These women have gone on to expand their resumes and their relationships, which have provided opportunities to work on major network television shows and feature films. Due to the small percentage of Christian women in decision-making roles in entertainment, believers must invest in their training, mentoring, and discipleship. These women can then become a voice to change in the negative narratives influencing our culture and shed light on topics we desperately need to tackle from a biblical worldview. The Women in My World is honored to help support women and their careers in entertainment and media as they bring redemptive stories to life and uplift, encourage, and influence the world for Christ.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, in our world of entertainment and media, I love that you got to see what I do in the Women in My World and making a movie was like back in 2023 with us doing Divine Influencer. You came on and again, you stepped out in faith in something that you had never done before. And you did all of the behind the scenes photography. And it was such a great experience. And you also were a pivotal voice in the community to help us kind of rally the troops to gather some items that we needed for production. And also just so many of the neighborhood ladies and different ones that came to be part of background. It was such a great part of just an experience. And so talk a little bit about that experience, because I know that was another new step in obedience, step in faith to try that out. What was that like for you, and how has it influenced your watching television and film and being a part of entertainment and media?
Yeah. To back up, when you first started talking about it and asked me about doing the photography, I was terrified.
Yes.
Because honestly, I think at that point, you had way more faith in me than I did. But I adore you so much. And I've never been involved in that industry behind the scenes and how a movie is truly made. And it was fascinating to watch it from start to finish and watch you command a room with such grit and grace. Just, it was fascinating. So I completely forgot that I was doing anything other than just taking pictures. It was easy for me. I was doing something that I loved doing anyway. And I just, in our community here, everyone kind of rallied and wanted to be a part of it. And you are such an influencer here. And no, you are in this neighborhood. People appreciate you and appreciate what you do. And everyone wanted to be a part of it and, do their part and help. And I was just so excited to be a little speck on this big thing. For me, it was really, really cool. So when I'm watching movies now, one of the things, the panning in and out, and because there's so many different takes in a movie, in a scene, I always thought it was just words, just talking. And, you had to do that several times, but it's more than that. It was to get this angle and to get this angle and so now when I'm watching a movie, that's what I'm focused on. And I'm thinking, wow, just it's incredible to be a part of that and have that opportunity. I'm, again, another grateful time in my life for. It was awesome.
It was awesome. I love that you said rally the troops. It was truly a joy to see this community rally together and bring this story to life. And it's one of those things that, we always talk about now between Beautifully Flawed Productions, the Women in My World, or anybody that we work with in entertainment. We just have this incredible opportunity to continue with resources, but it's so much better when you get to do it with friends.
Oh, it is.
It's just,
it is because it's so
awesome.
Genuine.
It's so genuine. And everybody here just, okay, what can I do? When can I be there? And long hours. We work long hours. We work whether it's rain or shine or whether it's snowing or whatever it might be.
Well, that was another thing that stood out for me is the long hours. And I would only go for little bits of time. And I can't even imagine. It's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours. But what I love is that you put your fingerprint on that movie, and that is something that will be in the history for as long as we live. Those movies live on. But I think more so than anything, it's the representation of who you are and relationships. I think that's something every time I get to make a movie or a film or whatever it is that I get to be a part of in entertainment and media, that there's this relationship building. We get to influence somebody else's life. And hopefully what we're doing is we're really influencing the world with positive messages. And I love that you get to see it through the lens of your camera. It's also that lens. And so I want to ask you, one of the things that I think so often when I'm mentoring or discipling women in entertainment, the creatives, they struggle through these inspirational like cycles, or how do they continue to navigate that? And so what is your creative rhythm look like, and how have you learned to kind of work through that? Because yes, you do photography, it's a passion of yours, but you do a lot of other things too. So how do you maintain being a creative, trying to find those moments to still go out and take photography while you're doing other things?
I guess the passions run so deep. There's times it kind of wanes, where you're just, maybe stepping out, doing something different. But my love of, I think, wildlife in itself, because it truly represents the circle of life. And being out there, getting that picture, it's just such an innate need for me that it's easy to just be out there. And, nature in itself just centers me. It soothes my soul. And I think you're very similar in that being out in nature, that's just such a, it's just good for the soul. And, I think at times I have struggled with confidence, whether it's, do I have the ability to do this? Can I, and I think that's probably my biggest challenge, is that I don't or have not always had the confidence in myself, whatever it is, whether it's photography or picking up a tennis racket. Can I really do this? Am I really good? So I think confidence is key. I think you really have to, that passion has to be burning within, but I think you need a little bit of confidence, and sometimes having to step outside of your comfort zone is tough, but needed.
But needed. And worth it. I mean, even talking about tennis, that's something, what I watch you do is that you have an intense work ethic. You really do. Because I think that's a beautiful thing to be reminded of, and the strength and confidence, and having, thinking kind of through that, like, am I confident in my work? But I also believe like your work ethic has really pushed you forward to say, I'm not going to be mediocre at this. I really am. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it well, and I'm going to work at it hard. And talk a little bit about that with tennis, because that's relatively new for you.
It is. It is. So I think it's 3.5 years into picking up a racket ever, or a sport. ever. That was really out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
And my husband is actually the one who was kind of pushing me, go pick up a tennis racket and,
Yeah.
learn how to play tennis. And I didn't know how that was going to. Now, there's an athletic side of me. I like to be active, but I didn't know how that was going to go. I love it more than I ever thought I possible. I do have a strong work ethic. I always have. And so it is a commitment. It is a commitment to learning how to play. And there's a lot more things involved than just hitting, a ball on your racket. There's placement on the court, and there's a lot of things.
Right.
And it is hard to pick yourself up every day, especially after a loss, and get out there,
Go
'cause
again.
I tend to be a little bit hard on myself. Like, I could have done better. I should have done better. I know it's in me. And
Yeah.
so I think what is fed the beast is my competitiveness. I want to win. I want to be good at it,
Yeah.
and I want to be, I know I won't be here forever. And I want my kids to look at me
Yeah.
and say, hey, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Mom picked up a racket at 53 years old and started playing.
Yeah.
Mom picked up a camera and she followed her passion. And I think a commitment is huge, and that work ethic is huge. Nothing is going to evolve if you don't put in the work.
Yeah, that's such a good way to look at it, because you do. I always think about that as like, you can be given passion and talents and gifts, but if you don't actively pursue it, they don't just one day happen. You really have to go out and put the effort in. And the effort you put in is so often the effort that comes out of it. And you all are like champions.
Not quite that, but we're
you're close. Yeah.
We are moving up. And we are moving on, and we have created a phenomenal team that, all like-minded, where we want to win.
Well, and I think it's such a cool thing too, because when I look at photography and tennis, I've only gone out a couple times to play tennis, and it's a lot of work, but it's eye-hand coordination. And I love that you also have that coordination that drive. It's such a cool thing to think through that. The eye and hand coordination. And I love that you're getting out there, you're doing something so physical, and you're being out there. So you're physically feeding yourself in so many ways, and then mentally and spiritually by getting out into nature. And that's kind of something that, I want to talk a little bit about too, is what do you love about capturing nature and wildlife? Like, what do you love about that?
Again, the circle of life. I have learned so much about birds themselves. I love just watching, learning, number one, because you have to really learn the sound of birds so you know where they are. You have to learn patience, which has not been that's challenging for me. I love, learning that some birds are made for life, watching the male and female feeding their young. And I'm fascinated. I love animals. So just to see them in their natural habitat and having babies, and I've put up bird boxes. My husband's put up bird boxes for me. And watching the clutches of babies come through and just mom and dad feeding them, and it soothes my soul. There's no other way to describe that for me other than just watching it unfold and the beauty of these birds and learning.
I want you to tell, because where you were going with that is, I want you to also talk a little bit about when you moved to Georgia and one of the homes that you lived in here, you did something very special to the backyard.
Yeah. So when our second home here in Georgia, we kind of bounced around the neighborhood, but our second home here, the backyard, the prior family that lived there had built this beautiful backyard with lush trees, all native to Georgia, and birds flocked to it. So, of course, I was in my happy place. All I had to do was step out into the backyard, and there I was looking at all these beautiful birds. So it came easy for me. My husband put up the bird boxes. We put out some bird baths and feeders. And so the birds just flocked. And I was at I think it was a restaurant, if I'm not mistaken, and saw a little sign about the Audubon here in Georgia. Now, not in all states, but in Georgia, they do come out to your house if you request, and they will come survey your land, and they will deem your land wildlife sanctuary, should it be. And so I thought, well, what the heck? I think I have a sanctuary here. So it was another one of those, I'm gonna see what happens. So I put in a little email and asked them to come survey, and it took about 6 months because it was, still in COVID time, and they did end up coming out, surveying the land. In the end, I got a certificate, and the backyard was deemed a wildlife sanctuary. And it was, I loved it. It was definitely a sanctuary to me from the get-go, but have that, that certificate was everything.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. I would just remember coming over to your home, and that was a part of your backyard. And I thought, what a beautiful sanctuary this is. You've been doing photography now for about 9.5 years. You've done a lot of traveling, and you've done some great photography in locations that you traveled. What has been one of your number one locations, and also one of the number one things as far as nature or an animal that you've captured?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I would say probably one of the best vacations for wildlife was the Costa Rica trip we took about a year and a half, 2 years ago, because I saw animals that I never thought in a lifetime I'd ever see. And I think probably seeing a sloth in the wild.
That would be fantastic.
I mean, the nice thing is they're not a moving target. To see it in nature was just beyond what I can describe. And the different, we got to trips through a rainforest, which was fabulous, and to see all the frogs and a toucan.
Wow.
Just things that I never had been exposed to. And also what I thought was pretty fascinating, it was a place that I could drive from California with some of my birder friends back there, which was the Salton Sea.
Oh.
And the reason being is it's mecca for birds that are migrating through. Millions of birds, at sunrise, just flying overhead was just, I couldn't even capture it on my lens. It was jaw-dropping. So, I mean, there's things near and far, but those are probably the two places that really stand out as far as photography for wildlife.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I think about birds, even all the way through the Bible, so many times does the Lord talk about birds. There's actually, so many scripture verses about, the birds, and he talks about the beauty of them and that they'll never go without. And I think even when I was just thinking about this even recently as I was preparing for our time together, was because we just passed Easter Sunday, and thinking about even in the baptism time when the Lord was baptized and when the heavens split, what we see is descending as a dove, and so the representation of birds and nature and life, like God just, I feel like he so innately has given us these beautiful creatures, and you've captured them so magnificently. Really, they're gorgeous. Hopefully everyone goes to California Captured and checks out Jennifer's photos. How would you encourage a woman who has never picked up a camera before, that would always felt like she's had an eye, felt like she would love to be able to capture, whether it's nature or whether it's even other people or locations or whatever that might look like? How would you encourage that woman to follow that passion and dream?
Don't let anything stop you, not even your own lack of confidence. You can learn anything and everything on YouTube.
Yeah.
Pick it up, grab a camera. So many things can be taught, and you can learn all that through reading. You can learn that through YouTube, so many different channels, even just the book that comes with the actual camera. What you can't teach somebody is an eye. You can't teach them capturing emotion, capturing feelings, but go with that. Go with your gut. If you're being called to pick up a camera, do it. Do it. Because even if you're not doing it for anyone else other than yourself, it's so meaningful. I never picked up a camera thinking beyond capturing beauty. It was never to go anywhere or do anything. It started out as just picking up a camera because I just wanted to capture those moments.
Yeah.
There's so many wonderful moments in our life that I like to look back at. And whether it's capturing people or food or animals, wildlife, I enjoy very much looking back at that because we're given so many wonderful tidbits in time, and it's a culminate. There's no perfect. What there is a culmination of so many wonderful moments in time. And it's those little moments that, I like to look back at. And what better way than a photo?
Yep.
I mean, I have the memories here, but I like to look back, and it soothes me.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Well, and I think right where we started our conversation was talking about what we're grateful for and thinking about the memories and legacy. And so, today we've lost some of that ability because everything seems to be done on a cell phone.
Correct.
Or a lot of people are not actually taking the time to see something. They're in the moment. They're not experiencing what is in front of them. And so I think it's great to be able to also, say, take your time, get out there.
Oh, yeah.
Take some time, pick up that camera, create those memories. One thing before we go, because we'll wrap up, is what is the one place that you would love to go to do pictures in, or at least try to capture one thing? Is there a dream?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There is a dream. There's always a dream. Africa. I would love to go on a safari.
Amazing.
I would love, I traveling is a gift.
Yeah.
And I think that, capturing anything, but high on my list, one of the things that is a bucket list item would definitely be doing a safari in Africa. That's a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, if you go, I'm going with you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going with you.
Yes, ma'am. I wouldn't have it any other way.
It's such an incredible picking up a camera, there's so much joy in it, and I love it.
Well,
so.
I love seeing you and watching you pick up a still camera. I mean, obviously you're a very creative person and have always, had that innate drive for the camera, but usually, the moving ones, and to see you pick up a camera and just being out there. And that's probably brought me even more joy than getting out there myself. So it's been
it's so good. Well, I'm so grateful that you let me tag along.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, when are we going to take the next?
We have lists.
We have lists. We have lists.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being one of the women in my world who influences me daily, and that you are leaving your fingerprints on the world with just not only your photography, but your heart for people, the love that you have, your work ethic, the way that you get out there and you put your best foot forward in everything that you do. And I am just so grateful for that. So thank you so much for being a part of the Women in My World. Thank you for being a part of my world and making it so much better.
Well, thank you for being such a dear friend to me. And thank you for opening my eyes more than I ever thought possible in so many ways and making me want to be a better person. I do appreciate that. And I appreciate you having me here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Listen, when you have a passion that God puts on your heart, make sure that you take some time to pray about it and then be diligent to pursue it. He didn't give you those passions for no reason, but He did give you opportunity to pursue them. So make sure that you get out there, you put your fingerprint on the world, and you influence others through whatever gifts and talents that God's bestowed upon you. So until next time, stay connected with the Women in My World.
We hope today's episode inspired you. If it did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with somebody in your world so we can reach more and more amazing women in entertainment and media. We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a comment below. Your support truly means the world to us, and it helps us keep doing this important work. Also, don't miss out on signing up for our newsletter, and you get our acting prep guide for free. It's packed with tips to help you step into your purpose. If you feel led, also please consider donating to support our ministry. All the links are in the show notes below. We can't wait to hear from you to join us next time.
Blessing in disguise.